Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're looking back at our younger mom selves. Join us as we share what we would say to encourage her, what advice we would give her, and what we wish we would have known back then. Let's get started. Listeners, today we're talking about Mother's Day. When this episode comes out, we'll only be a few days away from Mother's Day weekend. And as many of you know, we've had multiple episodes around this topic on Midlife Matters over the years. We've talked about funny stories, mishaps, and even some ways Mother's Day hasn't always lived up to our expectations. But we know that it's a privilege to be a mom, and no matter how the actual day turns out, we're always happy to be celebrating motherhood. Today, we wanted to take a little bit more of an introspective approach to this topic. We're going to look back at our own younger mom selves. What would we say to encourage her? What advice would we give her? And we're also going to talk about what we hope our Mother's Day will be like this year, because Mother's Day looks different in each stage of motherhood, and midlife is no different. So this topic, I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to hear what you guys would tell your younger selves.
That was a neat thing to think about. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I found that I was a lot more gentle with myself than I initially thought that I would be. So that was good.
I know. I was like, I'd slap that woman. Pull yourself together.
What was she thinking?
Right.
I know.
Right. Well, let's start out with a simple question. What does Mother's Day mean to you now compared to when your kids were little? Not so much that it means something different, but what is Mother's Day maybe like for you now than it was when your kids were little?
Today, it seems more of a day of reflection than when your kids are little. Like you're just excited about being a mom and, the future seems all in front of you. And now it is more of a day of reflection and gratitude. It's a proud day. And I think it's fun to look back on funny stories and things that you can laugh at now that maybe you couldn't laugh at before because there's some distance between those emotions,
Thank goodness.
And just finally reaching the stage where you're friends with your children is that's just a huge blessing. And so that's the way I think that it's different. And also, when your kids are little, I think your spouse is responsible for Mother's Day more than your kids. They
Right.
made you a mom, but they're not the ones doing the celebrating. And ironically, when your kids are little and you have multiple of them, you just want some rest and peace and quiet from the people that actually made you a mother,
True.
And now you just want them around. You want them to be there. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's meaningful when their adult children are telling you did a good job and, giving you good feedback. And it's just very humbling because I know I wasn't perfect. I know I made plenty of mistakes, yet they choose to still honor and celebrate me as a mom, as their mom.
Yeah, I was thinking about when your kids are little, like either yourself, because sometimes we were planning our own Mother's Day. So it's like either ourselves or our husbands have to do most of the planning and heavy lifting. Like your kids, they might have made you. Yeah. Like the kids, they may have made you like a craft at school, or maybe they made you something at church, or maybe their dad took them out to buy you a gift. But really, like someone else has kind of instructed them, prompted them, helped them. And then maybe they've even bribed them or enticed them to be on their very best behavior for a specific amount of time, like while your mom eats lunch or while we're at this park. And maybe they can also be persuaded to do like a special act of service, but it's not really coming so much from them. And I think it's neat now. Mother's Day ideas come from your kids. Like they ask you, what do you want to do on Mother's Day? Or can I take you out to lunch on Mother's Day? Or I have this really great gift idea for you for Mother's Day. So it's actually coming from them. And I would say like Steve's contribution is very minimal now.
I remember actually when the kids would ask me what I wanted for Mother's Day when they were little, I would sometimes say, I just want everybody to get along. That was my that was my request.
Yeah. This was a neat question for me to think about. And I definitely was very introspective about this. I enjoyed that we had these questions for long enough that I could really ponder these things because they've been ruminating in my mind for days now. But I was thinking, like, gosh, I used to be so ready to get out of my minivan. Well, I'm still driving it, and
I'm
I know
so surprised by that, Mindy.
I'm like in the last year.
Yeah.
I see the end coming because we have our last child and we're about to kind of finish that, high school years, and then we'll go on to the college, and they're just kind of in and out. And so I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay to see the journey coming to an end in that regard. Like, I will move on from the minivan one day, but I'm going to enjoy the minivan until I get there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You might mourn losing the minivan.
I know. I'm not quite so desperate to get rid of it right now. I have named her Old Bessie, and Old Bessie is taken care of very well. She stays very clean, and she's going to get me to the finish line. So,
and she doesn't smell like sour milk anymore. So there's a big difference, when people aren't spilling stuff all over her.
I'm not finding goldfish crunched under the seats, sippy cups and all that.
Diapers.
But, I was really thinking about how, I used to talk with my friends, and we were like, yeah, moms are the heartbeat of the home, and moms are just the glue that holds it all together. And I think that my perspective has really changed on that. And I'm left in a place of realizing that I'm not the heartbeat and I'm not the glue. And I'm really thankful for that. Talking with my daughter this last weekend, I said, there have been seasons where I felt like our family was on the brink of just disaster, and we've gone through some really hard things. And I said, God alone has been the glue for our family. And God alone has been the heartbeat of our family. And I'm so thankful. I'm just left with gratitude. I just feel honored to be a mom. I feel honored to have 4 plus 1 now that, look to me as a mom. And so I'm thankful because I wasn't smart enough to be the glue or the heartbeat. And I can just say, thank you, God, for what you have done with my family. And let's just all get along.
Yeah. Still applies.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what would a perfect Mother's Day look like to you in this stage of life, as you maybe have kids that are out of the home and some that are in the home, and maybe your own mom is still living and still joining you? Like, what does Mother's Day look like for you, or what do you want it to look like?
This was kind of a hard question because the original question said the perfect Mother's Day. And I don't like thinking about things in terms of perfection anymore because, we've talked about this, I think, every year that we've talked about Mother's Day, that there's so many ways expectations can ruin a day, especially like Mother's Day.
Right.
So for me this year, I really thought about this, and I thought if I can say it's a good Mother's Day, if I can accept my circumstances as they really are, if I can appreciate what I do have, and I can celebrate what's good about my life and not what's lacking. I mean, sounds simple. It's not always easy to do, but it is simple. Like those are very doable things that I can focus on and just throw perfection out the window.
Amen.
Well, yeah. I mean, perfection is hard to achieve with real life people, so that's probably not going to happen.
I mean, I don't even really have an ideal. Like, I'm just going to see what comes, and just appreciate what comes. I'm not even setting up any expectations. I'll be thankful for whatever, and like, I don't need gifts. I just don't. Like, none of those things are really important. It's just about relationships.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I would say gathering. Like, it's funny when your kid, we talked about this, touched on this, Julie, you said it briefly, like maybe you just want a break on Mother's Day when your kids are little. But now I want like gathering. I want to see my kids. I want to spend time together. But one thing that I think is meaningful to moms of any age, or even midlife moms, is a really great Mother's Day would be me not planning things. Me not having to plan it, but we still get together. So, like, I think that one of the things that moms like a break from on Mother's Day is decision making, because usually the moms are the ones that are making every holiday special and every gathering day special. And so if someone else is planning Mother's Day, that's like a true treat, and that's really nice.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yes. It's funny. We just took the boys to lunch this past Sunday. Jacob happened to be home, and we're sitting at the restaurant, and we're talking about Mother's Day plans. And we're talking about, we think we're gonna, go to Chattanooga this year, and so then Abby and Joey don't have to drive down because we just all want to be together.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jacob and Nathan are like, "What? I was thinking about doing this. Like, you didn't tell me, like, we were, that we were going to do something and all that." And Bryce just says, "Listen, for the rest of your life, Mother's Day will be spent with your mother." And they were just like, "Oh, okay." I loved that because I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and eat my salad.
That's so funny. I didn't know we were going to do anything.
What? Completely shocked.
Yeah. Right.
So I appreciate that. I really do. And I do feel just thankful for whoever I can see and spend time with. I'd love to be able to see my own mom. We live far apart. And so we just really are thankful for the time that we do get. So probably won't be Mother's Day, but it'll be sometime soon.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I do think that most of what we want now is getting together. We want to see everybody. So that's good. But we don't want to see them for breakfast in bed. We're all thankful that the breakfast in bed stage has passed.
Oh, that would be torture.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sometimes we're really hard on ourselves. And so we want to take an opportunity to celebrate how far we've come or how much we've grown over the years, because it's easy to look back and say, oh, I did that wrong, or, oh, why did I do that? But like, what are some of the great or awesome things that you're doing in your life right now that your younger mom self would have a hard time believing? So one of my first ones, because all the people in my life say this, my kids included, I just can't believe you love having a dog, because I never even allowed my kids to entertain the idea of us having a family dog. And if you would have said, do you think you'll have a dog when your kids are grown? I would have said no. And so that's just something that I wouldn't have believed in my younger years.
I would have said no for you too.
I agree, Marie. 100%.
Yeah. So that's something. What's something that you guys have on your list?
I would say hosting a podcast.
Oh, well, there's one.
That's on my list.
Because I'm, an introvert by nature, and I don't know. I don't think it's what a lot of people thought I would want to do, so
right.
that we're going on 6 years. It's pretty amazing.
Yes,
that's so
amazing.
True. My younger mom self would have been like, "What's a podcast?"
True.
Well, true. What's the internet?
I think the very first thing that came to my mind that my younger mom self would completely be stunned at, would not believe, is that I teach fitness classes.
Oh,
nowhere let alone healthy, let alone have arm muscles.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of that. I would have been stunned, shocked. I wouldn't believe you if you had told me this is something that I do now and that I'm good at it and I love it and I have a ministry with it. Never in a million years would I have believed I would be doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing that I think younger mom selves can't imagine about their older mom self is that you gain freedom back. Like, I feel like when you're young mom, like, you just give up one freedom after another freedom after another freedom. And like, it feels like there's a period where you're always giving up freedom. Like your freedom spear is going down and down and down. And then all of a sudden in midlife, like the world opens back up and you have freedom again. And like, at first it feels scary to have so much freedom. It's like, wow, I have freedom? Like you've been let out of jail or something. Am I allowed to do that? Can I pick what I want? Could I choose to go there? No one would say no. Like, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, like look at all this freedom I have. I never even used to think ahead to when I would have freedom. Like I couldn't really It wasn't even on my radar that someday you'll be able to make choices and do things just for yourself again.
Yeah, the tunnel was so dark and narrow, you couldn't even see so long. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Well, you get used to it's like the frog in the pot. Like you get used to the environment that you're living in. You don't even recognize the fact that you don't have the freedom. It wasn't like I was sitting there every day thinking, darn it, I can't just pick up and go here in 2 weeks.
Right.
Like I wasn't even thinking I didn't consider myself not free. And it's not like I would go back and choose to not do it over again. It's just that you do experience freedom that you had kind of forgotten what that was like.
Yeah.
Like you, Mindy, I also said working out, lifting weights, and I'll just go ahead and include that I love hiking because a lot of people think maybe that I grew up hiking, but I had never really hiked until about 15 or so years ago when a friend introduced me to it. So I was very active as a child and I played every sport, but I wasn't the aerobics mom when my kids were little. I didn't do anything like that. So I've surprised myself.
I had some funny things that have come with technology that I think I would be surprised at, that I actually enjoy buying clothes online and shoes online. Like that we actually shop that way is surprising. That would have shocked me when I was younger. That I have my groceries delivered to the house. I don't have to go to the grocery store. This would have also shocked me because when my kids were little, grocery shopping was the number one thing that took so much out of me.
And so much time.
So much time getting the kids through the grocery store. Like at one point I had so many kids, there were no room for the groceries because all the kids were in the basket. Like I just would be shocked that I am able to have groceries delivered.
Right.
And that I choose to do so even though I have no children that I need to take with me.
I think my younger mom self would be shocked by how much I enjoy pickleball. Okay, so you think of your life like sports have died out. I played sports in high school. I didn't really play any sports in college. I mean, I took my kids to all kinds of sports while they grew up, and some people are going to say pickleball's not a sport, but it is. I never pictured myself picking back up a sport and being excited about a sport and like devoting a lot of time to something, and that it would bring me so much joy. Like I would get happy, I would laugh, I would be excited. Like it's a joyful experience playing pickleball. Like I think my younger self would have thought, no way.
That is cool.
I think my younger mom self would have been surprised that I love coffee.
Oh,
and
really?
that I go to coffee shops because, when my kids were little, when you think you need all that energy, like I was not a coffee drinker. It was really probably when my daughter got interested, college age.
Right.
So I never envisioned myself just having the freedom and the time to go sit in a coffee shop and enjoy all the nuanced things about coffee. So
yes.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I think my younger mom self would have been shocked that I'm still driving a minivan. Not to keep bringing this up. But I got my first one at 21 and I'm 46 and still driving one. So it's not the same one.
Right.
But that I'm okay with it too. And that I'm so close to being done. But no, I think I'd be shocked thinking like, that's going to last a really long time, Mindy. Like just settle in. All right.
Yeah.
Because that's not going away for a long time. But, I think that something that was more overarching for me, I think that was more meaningful was just that if I could tell myself that life keeps getting better, that each new stage with my kids got better, it became my new favorite. Like every time a new stage came at me and I was concerned about leaving the last stage behind and kind of dreaded the future, it became my new favorite. And so I think I would tell myself like, it just keeps getting better. Like it's good. It's really good.
Even teenagers.
Yeah.
I would say.
Love teenagers.
Yeah. I think my younger mom self would be surprised that I'm a grandmother. Like a grandmother to me seemed old and they had short hair and it was permed and they were retired and
I'm sure grandmothers don't play pickleball, Marie.
Grandmothers just seemed so different. And like, I've seen this reel that's gone around Instagram, and this guy's like, what's happened to all the grandmothers? Like, the grandmothers just aren't the grandmothers of my generation. And I think my younger self would be surprised that I have become a grandmother and I still am young.
Mm-hmm. I think he said they were squishy.
Old grandmothers used to be squishy.
Yeah, old grandmothers. Yeah. It's not something I'm doing, but just something that would surprise my younger self is that I'm now longing for the days when I was needed more. That is not something a young mother ever thinks that she will long for.
Right.
But yeah, I wish I were needed more. So that's, just where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think kind of the last thing that I would say about this stage of my younger mom self just being really surprised or maybe excited to hear, if I could go back and just look into my eyes and say, like, God is going to bring beauty from these ashes. God is going to make new life spring forth from these hard roads that you are really stressed about or that you're not at peace about. And one day you're going to be able to look back and see how God wove it all together to get you to where you are now. And you're going to be at peace and you're going to have a lot of joy. Your marriage gets better. Your friendship with Bryce gets even better. And I think I would be surprised because I think in the thick of things, like, I was stressed. I wasn't at peace. I was always tired. I was out of shape. I was having fun with my kids. I loved that time. But I think I would be surprised that I am at peace, I think.
Well, I think when you're in the thick of it, that's just the very nature of the thick of it. Like, you can't almost even have peace in the thick of it because you don't have the benefit of the hindsight of 2020, knowing that this does work out. Like, all these things that young moms are stressed about, they are, not all of them, but like a lot of them are really important decisions. Like, when I have my grandchildren, one of the reasons I enjoy them is because none of those decisions are on me anymore. I don't have to decide where they go to school. I don't have to wonder if it's okay that they're not really to this stage yet, but I won't have to wonder if it's okay that they're not reading yet, if it's okay that so-and-so didn't invite them to their birthday party, if it's okay that they haven't started a sport. I don't need to worry that they're being left out. I don't need to worry that maybe, their school isn't good enough. Like, I don't have to worry about the youth group at church. I don't have to worry about any of those things. Those aren't my jobs or roles anymore. So I can be cheerleader. I can be, I love you no matter what, no matter that you didn't get invited to that birthday party, but I don't have to take that all on myself. Where when you're the mother, it's all on you. Like, all those things weigh like stones on your shoulders. You just want the very, very best. And that is your role at the time. So I don't think you can feel like super peaceful in the midst of it. And I think it's good maybe for younger moms to hear that, man, I stressed about that thing too. My daughter is really struggling right now because her one child has really bad eczema. And I bet she is trying a new treatment every day, sometimes multiple treatments a day. Like, it is keeping her up. And I can just picture, like, you'd have a problem like that when your kid is younger and it would just be all consuming. Like, you'd just be looking for a solution, and she's taking her to multiple doctors and the kid's legs are bleeding. And like, I feel terrible for my granddaughter, but that doesn't like weigh on my mind when I go to bed because I'm the grandmother. It's not on me. I can sympathize, but I can't take her to the doctor. Like, I can be a support. And so, like, in the midst of it, Abigail is going to feel the stress of it. She and Nick are going to be, at odds with how to deal with it, or they're going to have to make adjustments, or, like, that's just the very nature of being in something. And now when we're older, we can be a support and say, you are doing such an awesome job. I totally feel why you are stressed about this, and I totally see why it's a stressful situation and you can't get out of it and you need to still work. And I can pray for you, but I don't carry that anymore. You know what I'm saying? And so I think, like, from this distance, it'd be really hard to tell your younger self. And that's why I hate it when people that aren't in the midst of something say, like, relax, it'll all work out. Well, the person working through it is the one that's gonna live with the working it out, So like you can support them, but they can't just sit back and do nothing. They still have to be working it out.
Exactly.
Right. And I think this question, it was a fun question, but I think what we're saying is like motherhood is transformative. We are not the same people we were.
Mm-hmm.
And so would it be enough to just tell ourselves these things? No, because we were different people and you would be taking away the things that got you here, the things that shaped you and formed you. Which are most, I mean, the way you change the most is in hardship and struggles and mistakes, when everything's just going perfectly, you don't change a lot. You don't grow a lot.
Right.
So while it was a fun exercise, I don't think you could ever really tell yourself these things, and maybe it's an encouragement to other people just to know that you'll get there. But you're right. You still have to go through it. You can't go around.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, Mindy, you found an article by two sisters. Can you explain that to us?
So the three of us had kind of chatted about this topic, and I was going to make my own list, like what are some pieces of, little advice that I would give to like a younger mom. And so I just decided to Google it. And actually, there's quite a few articles out there, but I happened upon this one. And like Marie said, it's two sisters. They're in midlife. And they just made this kind of lighthearted but deep, list of things that they would tell their younger selves or a younger mom. And I appreciated having a list to pull from. And I thought it was so applicable. Quickly shared, I'm like, hey, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. They already did it. So here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved how it started out. It was so honest because she said they were discussing mom burnout and she said they're feeling it. And she said, maybe it's summer and the lack of routine and alone time is mounting. I also think we're feeling this way because we've been everything to everyone we love for about 20 years. We are fried. And she says, we are in midlife mode. We feel as though we created this monster. I think it's just life being a woman and a mom, but I have some advice for you, gentle, dear younger mom readers. Here's what I would say to my younger mom self. So then they just go into some different things that they would tell their younger mom selves, speaking from their fried midlife state of mind.
Yes.
So what were some of the ones that stuck out to you that really struck a chord? Because they have 25, so we don't want to go through all 25, but what ones stuck out to you guys?
Well, I thought she started off with a good one. The very first one she wrote was perfectionism is overrated. And that covers a lot of the ones below it, Like I said, I don't know, that I could have told myself because I am less of a perfectionist now than I was, but there's a reason. It's because I got burned out. I got, I saw how that wasn't serving me in the best way. But, everything from how your house looks to your clothes, to your kids' clothes, to their behavior in public, to everything, there's so many ways that perfectionism can ruin things, and just, I've always struggled with expectations and, setting them out there and being disappointed because it was unrealistic.
Oh yeah.
And it was all my fault. You know what I mean? It wasn't that my people weren't doing the right thing. It was usually just unrealistic and just having a vision for the way things should be and not dealing with them the way they are.
I blamed the people.
Oh, well, back then I did. Yes.
Definitely on them. No.
What was one that stuck out to you, Mindy?
Let's see. One of the things that I wrote down, obviously, because I have already talked about this, but move your body every single day. I think just activity, physical movement, it is such a gift to have your health. And it puts so many things in perspective. If I can just move, if I can walk, if I can work out, if I can do something like that and take care of my body, it helps me live life better. So I would encourage that. I would encourage that to be a priority in your day.
Right. I think for my younger mom self, and I probably told myself this, but I still never really could manage to do it, was stop doing everything for everyone. I think it maybe ties back a little bit into the perfectionist, Julie. I feel like there's a right way to do things. And if I couldn't get my kids to do it the right way, I would just do it myself. So like if they wouldn't do their laundry the right way, I'd just do it. If they wouldn't clean the bathroom the right way, I'd just do it. I, should have just demanded that they learn the right way. I don't care if you have to start over 10 times. Learn to clean the bathroom. But it was always such a frustrating thing. And when you have 5 kids and they all share the same bathroom, they're finger pointing like, well, I didn't make that mess. Well, that's because so-and-so did that. Well, you can't be expected. And it just got to be like, fine, I'll just do it. And that's a fault on me. Like well, it's not all on me. My kids could have been better about doing some chores. But you know what I'm saying? Like I should have just insisted, this is the way we're doing it and you're going to do it. And I don't know, that's just not my personality. It's like, fine, I'll just do it. I can get it done twice as fast. I'm just going to do it.
Well, 3 kids do that too, Marie. It's not a 5-kid thing. It's a 3-kid thing, a 4-kid thing, whatever.
Look,
anything more than 1.
You could have 1 kid and they blame the dog. So, I mean, one of them, it kind of goes along with that. But the mom's role is not the dad's role.
That's a good one.
I really liked this one because dads are different. They have a different role. If I could have chilled out and I'll say, let Bryce be Bryce, and me not feel like I had to like micromanage the things with the kids. You know what I mean? Like there was so often I'm like, just chill, like he is that way for a reason and let him be dad. And so I think if I could tell myself like, yeah, just chill.
Let me ask you this. Were you ever jealous of the dad role? I was.
Every Father's Day.
I don't know if I was jealous of it, but I did see the difference.
Yeah, like John would take each kid on a trip up by himself, which is the 1 kid. So that means I was, I had the 2 kids. So
I'd have been jealous.
And he always said, you could do this too, but it just seemed like it was too overwhelming to plan it, and he would just say he was going to do it and he'd go and he'd have the best time. And because I know I always loved being with just 1 child at a time. That was such a treat. So I don't mean jealous in like an unhealthy way, but we tease him about it. Like, well, I don't get to do that,
Yeah.
Well,
and it just seemed like dad was reserved more for fun. You know?
Yes, for sure.
Well, I do remember us making a family rule when the kids were little, and it was every Saturday and every summer. And those specific times that I would be like, I am not answering any questions. You have any question, it goes to dad. And we had to make that rule because literally, your kids ask you a million questions. They bypass dad to come to ask you.
Yeah, he's sitting right there next to you. And it's mom.
He's like, I'm on. Like, I will field all the questions. And so that was a great rule for us to put into play.
Yeah.
One of the things that I liked on this list was the go with the smaller house. And there were a lot of times when my kids were growing up that I thought, I wish that they had a little bit more room. Like all 5 of them shared the same bathroom and 2 of the kids always shared a bedroom and 1 person slept in the bonus room because he didn't want to share with his brother. And like, it seemed like we were a lot of juggling musical chairs sometimes. And then also like we probably could have afforded to move to a different house, but it would have maybe meant some other types of sacrifices. And so I guess I really appreciate that this was on the list because go with the smaller house for us or for me, I feel like it allowed me to have a finger on people that I wouldn't have otherwise had. Like if the house was bigger and they could like escape from me, I wouldn't have maybe known about their emotional state, or I wouldn't have heard that argument, or I wouldn't have known exactly what they're doing, or pretty much you could hear somebody walk. So you knew if they moved from one room to the other, you knew if they were up in the night. Like you just really are aware of all your family members and like you're together a lot because there's one place to watch TV or there's one place to eat. Like I think go with the smaller house. Like if somebody is feeling or maybe trying to decide between the 2, I mean, smaller homes can really be an advantage to a family. I mean, you may not have that big game room for, the teenage party, but I think like in your everyday life, there's a lot to be gained from living close to each other.
Yeah, not having a place to isolate. I think that's important.
Right.
Yeah.
let alone the burden that comes with just taking care of a bigger space and cleaning a bigger space. And you would have had more bathrooms to clean. And that's just more, that would have been more on you, Marie.
True, true.
All right, one thing she said that I had to laugh at, because most of hers were fairly serious, but number 2 was go to the dentist. And I thought I should have told myself this, because I remember I was very faithful at taking my kids to the dentist every 6 months. And then the receptionist would always say, "What about you, Mom?" And I was like, I just don't have time. I just don't have time.
Right.
Because,
Right.
and I think I went 5 or 6 years without seeing the dentist, and, and I paid a toll for that.
Oh, buddy, yeah.
And so after that, it was one of those learning lessons the hard way. I don't skip an appointment now, but I think because the receptionist would always say it's just as important for the mom to come, that that's probably a pretty common thing, is that the
Right.
moms can neglect their own health during that time.
Another one that I really appreciated was focus on what I can control. I think that I lost a lot of sleep over things I couldn't control. I think I was really anxious about things. I was afraid of things. I worried about things that I could never control. And had I had the self control in place at that time, like there were decisions that I could make and there were things I could do. But I feel like a lot of times I lived procrastinating making decisions, procrastinating doing certain things because I kind of dreaded, my options, or I just didn't want to do it, or I was tired, or whatever. But I think just kind of, especially goes along with our Let Them book that we're talking about right now. Like, what can I do? And let's focus on that and try to let the rest of it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might actually get harder as your kids grow up. Instead of realizing that, oh yeah, I should be doing it this way. I think it might even get harder because even though we have very little control anyway, but I think we definitely feel like we have less as they leave our house.
Right.
Yeah.
One of them they have on the list is make time for date nights. And I would say that it's really easy to not make time. Like, even if someone offers to babysit, it's like, oh, do I really feel like getting dressed? I'd have to make a decision. I'd have to pick a place to go. I'd have to pick an activity. I'd have to basically prepare for the kids while I'm gone. Like, this is like when they're more little. Like, I basically have to do everything and then leave my house. Like, sometimes it can feel overwhelming as a young mom to even take advantage of a date night. Like, it's almost more work than the hurdle of getting out the door, or let alone like if you were going to take a trip together, that could feel like a huge hurdle, like arranging childcare and being away and just the leaving. But I always was fortunate that I had people in my life, including Steve, who pushed me to do it, because left to my own devices, I really probably wouldn't. I'd postpone because it felt like a hurdle to have to do it. And I just think that it always paid off. We would go and enjoy ourselves, or I would love getting away together, or, but if someone said to me, "Oh, do you want to do that?" My first instinct is, "Oh, that sounds like a lot of work. How about we just stay in?"
A lot of work.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know, when the kids were very young, I was always eager to get out. Like, we had a babysitter that just became a regular. Like, she was just on call all the time. And we even took her on vacation with us because we liked her so much. She was just a teenage girl, but in our church. Genius. But we loved her. And so that did make it easier. And I had I had my parents too, so it wasn't, but yeah, I felt when they got older, it got a little harder, because they didn't need care, but they needed supervision.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and that's hard too.
That is a little bit different feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And more people might be volunteering to watch your cute baby than your 13-year-old teenager.
Exactly.
Yes. Along those lines, I appreciated, she said to go away with your friends like once a year. If you can have like a girl trip or something like that. I remember the very first time I cruised with some friends was when Nathaniel was like 15 months old. And I was so stressed to do it because a cruise is, you're leaving the country for the most part. And Bryce in charge of everybody, and it was stressful. It was, anxiety ridden. And also once I got there, we had the best time. And it gave me such a gift. And these ladies that I cruised with were just a godsend at that time. And we continue to cruise together to this day. And so that kind of started something really wonderful in my life, because we don't live near one another, but like once a year or every other year, we still cruise together. And so that was a major gift that I'd say Bryce gave me, was to just get away for a few days.
Yeah.
Marie, I think we missed that boat.
I know. I should have been more. Again, trips sound overwhelming to me. Like the hurdle of getting out the door and planning it. But the times that I did do it, I always enjoyed it. But yeah, that was a hurdle for me when my kids were growing up. It didn't really matter what age they were. It just felt like a hurdle.
Yeah. And I don't think it was as common. It wasn't like I wasn't going. I didn't have any friends going on girls' trips,
Right.
Not until the kids got older, really.
Yeah. Right.
I thought of you when I read this, Mindy, because you probably didn't have a problem with this. But for myself, especially when the kids were young, it said, be cute for you. So I could just so much fall into do my kids look cute, but forget about buying something for myself. Or, you'd always make sure your kids have new stuff for the season or new whatever, but you don't necessarily always do it for yourself. And so I think that was a good reminder. It's okay to be cute for you.
That's really funny, because I did always make sure I looked cute. And I've so let myself go more now than ever that I don't even have kids. And I have all these cute clothes, and I get my hair done, and here I am in a sweatshirt and a ponytail. I mean, completely content. But I do get cute twice a week. All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, though.
Well, I think the reason that's important is because it's an uplift in your mindset, because when you're dealing with a lot of little kids, it seems like you're fighting against the tide to put on anything nice, because they're going to get art supplies on you, or they're going to spit up on you, or they're going to get their lunch on you, or you're just sitting on the floor. That's not going to be comfortable in jeans. There's a lot of reasons to not look cute. They don't notice. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, being cute for yourself really is the only reason, because it's not necessarily that you have people in your house that are even noticing.
And now that I look back, because I thought I was looking cute, I'm that was not cute.
You were cute for the times, Julie.
I guess. Well, I just had one more thing, and it wasn't on their list. It was on my list. And this is just speaking to where I am, but I just would have told myself that it's okay not to have all the answers, that I've got the rest of my life to unpack all the answers to the complexities of life and faith. And, recently, when life goes sideways and God's plans kind of reveal themselves to be something other than what you assumed, God's sovereignty can kind of start feeling untrustworthy. And that's okay. I didn't think that would ever happen in my life. And I think it does in everybody's life at some point, and it's not true, but it's real, And I just never expected to feel that way, and I know a lot of things happen to people younger than I was, So it took me a long time to get to that point, but it's very real, and it can be a little shocking, that what you've thought you've stood on that was really very untested can be shaken until it's tested.
Right. The last thing that I wrote down was that she included on the list was the kids are all right. And I appreciated that. And I think that, we strive so hard. And Marie, you mentioned the stage that Abigail's in right now. And I had a kid that really struggled with the same thing, actually. But the doctor's appointments, the dentist appointments, the health scares, the moving, the not getting invited, the not getting selected, and I just think it's the end of the world at the time. And I just, I think to know that the kids are all right. They're going to be okay. Sometimes disappointments turn out to be better for your child, and that they need to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciated that kind of lighthearted approach. Like, it's going to be okay. They're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Not everything has to look right now, but it's going to be okay later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I would tell my younger mom self is that your kids will appreciate these things. Like, I think in the moment we think that they're going to forget about it or they don't recognize it, and it comes sooner than you think. And different ones of my kids over the years have said different things that let me know that they recognize. But just this weekend, one of my daughters that's in college sent me and my husband this text that says, "The more and more I grow up, the more I realize how immeasurably much you and Dad have sacrificed and continue to sacrifice for me. I am grateful." And I just was so touched by that, like to get that text just like out of the blue. And I called her later and said, "Thank you for that. That was really sweet." And what kind of like brought that on? She's a junior in college, and she said that as she looks at her future and tries to decide what she wants to do next, she realizes, like, because of course kids her age, they're starting to think of like, well, when will I get married? Well, when would I have kids? Well, what does that mean for my career? She wants to, go on to nurse practitioner school. She wants to do some things, thought about maybe being a travel nurse, like has thought about these things, but she realizes that like, oh, well, if I had kids at that time, well, that would be really hard. Or, oh, maybe I should travel now. And like they start to realize that a family will limit their choices. And not that people don't willingly have their choices limited. We all do for our families, and we gladly do it. But it's neat that she's kind of seen, like, if I make one choice in this area, well, then that precludes me from having this type of a career, or that precludes me from pursuing this direction. And then she starts to realize that that's also what her own parents went through. Like, they may have wanted to do something different at different points in their lives. Like, she even said, like, well, now I know why you and Dad, didn't travel certain places until just recently. Like, everything is affected in your life by your life choices. And she was even saying, like, well, how did you decide if you could afford another child? Or how do you know if you can afford things? Because she's even thinking, like, well, if you have a family, well, that's going to prevent you from spending your money this way versus that way. Like, I think a lot of things were just going through her mind. And it was so gratifying to see and hear that she really recognized the sacrifices that go into parenting. And that's really super rewarding because your younger self really can't envision that all the time.
Yeah. What a gift for her to get to that place of gratitude and reach out and tell you.
Yeah, that was really sweet. And it really meant a lot to me to be able to hear that, because that's like a Mother's Day gift. That's the kind of thing we want to hear around Mother's Day, is just like, I see you and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once they leave the shelter of your home and see the way the world really operates, and I think that's when it starts to come back, when the light bulb goes off in their head. And because I know my son has said, I've said something like, did you think we were too strict on you or whatever, or that your dad was too strict? And he was like, oh no. He was like, I can see why he thought all of this was, like, this wasn't acceptable, this wasn't going to fly or whatever. And he said, I probably would have been more strict. It's just funny that he did not feel that way as a high schooler, but now he just feels like he's thinking like his dad, And it's just really comical to hear.
It is funny to hear your kids talk about other families, and like your family is the way things should be done, like, we did this, and I know you and Dad did this, and like that's the way it's supposed to be. And I'm like, well, let's just pray for your future marriage, because she's going through things that are the way they're supposed to be too. So
yeah. I guess to end this little section, I just think that all the younger moms, we all recognize this, that you do the best with the tools and knowledge you have at the time. Like, hindsight is 20/20, but we all did the best we could at the time. that's just the way it is. And so like you could tell your younger self you should have done something differently or you should have focused on that. But we all agonized over these things. Generally, we agonized over these things. We did the best we knew to do at the time. We always wanted the best.
Yeah, and thought you were making the best decision. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you can do to bless your own mom this year or another mom in your life? I think one of the biggest blessings, because I obviously just shared that it's a huge blessing to me, is just tell them how much you appreciate them. Because every mother has sacrificed. Every mother has gone through those agonizing decisions. Every mother has given up things for the betterment of their child, willingly, gladly. But what a reward and what an honor to have someone say, hey, thank you for doing that for me.
Yeah, I just saw this really cute Instagram reel and it said, a mom is the only person out there who's doing something like just for you. Like she doesn't have anything in it for herself. It's just that she wants the best for you. And she celebrates your wins, she shares your sorrows, and she just wants the best for you. And she's not trying to get anything for herself. And that's the way I've always kind of thought about my mom. Just so grateful. Like there are days where I know that she might be the only person on the planet praying for me. And especially after losing a husband, like I know she is probably the only person on the planet who even like has me on her mind all the time. Because I know from being a mom, your kids are always on your mind. Whether you've just talked to them or haven't talked to them or whatever, they're just always there and always will be. So I'm so grateful for my mom for that and just her praying spirit. And there's this little poem that I found that I've shared 2 or 3 Mother's Days, and I think I will continue to always share it because it is just so beautiful. It's really short, but I wanted to read it. It said, "A mother is the truest friend we have when trials heavy and sudden fall upon us, when adversity takes the place of prosperity, when friends desert us, when trouble thickens around us. Still, she will cling to us and endeavor by her kind precepts and counsels to dissipate the clouds of darkness and cause peace to return to our hearts." And I thought that's so true. Like when everybody else is gone, when everybody else, when everything seems bad, she's there. So, and that poem was by Washington Irving, actually. So, but I don't know. I just thought that was, I just couldn't say it any better. So that I use that poem every year.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I know, like you both, I have nothing but gratitude as I look to my mom. And I just need to say thank you more. I think, knowing the situations that her and my dad were in and the decisions that they made and just really building compassion. The older I get, it builds more compassion over the things that they walked through and did for and I just want to say thank you more. And when it comes to younger moms, I'm having a lot of conversations, actually, even just this very week, of younger moms in really busy seasons. And I think there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of lies and there's a lot of dread that's put on young moms for seasons that are coming, whether it be middle school, high school. Oh, just you wait till you have teenagers. Oh, just wait till they go to college. Oh, just wait till your son gets married. I mean, these lies and these fears and anxieties can seem so big, when you're looking ahead. And I think I would say, don't believe it. Don't listen to it. Don't go there. Middle schoolers are awesome. Teenagers are some of my favorite people. And every season that has come has just gotten better. And so if I could say, expect wonderful things in the future. There's always something wonderful happening in each stage of motherhood, and it just gets better and it doesn't end. So even though your kids might be leaving the house, it's not ending. It's changing, and it's sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. And so that's what I would want to encourage a young mom.
Yeah, I had written down to tell my younger self that each stage has its advantages and disadvantages. And all the stages are great for different reasons. And so you don't need to dread the next one or mourn the one that's passing. I mean, yes, you'll look fleetingly back and wish you could hold that 18-month-old, but you also love the 7-year-old that they've become. And you're going to love the 14-year-old and the 21-year-old. And like, you're going to know them better and better. And like, Julie, you were talking about still being needed. Like, I still need my mom. Like, I hate it when my parents go away for a month. And they go away for a month a few times a year. And they're the type of people that when they go on vacation, they don't get a phone plan. Or even if they're in the country, a lot of times they don't call. And so really is like radio silence. And it's such a weird feeling because I still need my mom and my dad. Like, I don't like that because it makes me like see into the future of when I won't be able to call or when they won't call me. And I hate that feeling. And so like, Julie, I just wanted to say like, I think moms are always needed. Like, you still need your mom. Like, the role might change, but they're still needed and they're still important, and you still want to bounce ideas off them, and you want them to see what you're doing, and you want them to cheer you on and pray for you. And you're still just like that little kid inside that holds up their art project like, see? Do you like what I did? And like, you want them to say, that is awesome. Like,
I know. It's like,
who else is going to do that for you?
I know. My mom is like, if anything exciting happens or good, or even, and then on the reverse, if anything bad happens, really, my mom is the first person I want to tell. And even married, of course, I would tell John, but my mom always got a call. And I just don't think that'll ever end. Now she's just right down the hall, so she gets,
now you just shout for her.
An earful.
So I guess I would tell all those moms out there, you're still needed no matter what stage.
Yes. Be excited.
Okay, well, I enjoyed talking about this. Happy Mother's Day to you, Mindy and Julie.
Oh, thank you.
And happy Mother's Day to all our listeners. We would love for you to come and find us on Instagram and share what Mother's Day has meant to you and maybe your different thoughts on Mother's Day this year. You can find us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast, or you can always email us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. But before we go, we want to do I'm a Fan. All right, Mindy, what are you a fan of this week?
I am a huge fan of a series through Timothy Keller's podcast, and it's on faith. And he delves into the book of Hebrews, and we on the faith chapter, Hebrews 11. But literally, if you go to his show, Timothy Keller, Gospel in Life, and they just released a series on faith that he did a long time ago, and it's just incredible. I have enjoyed his series that he did on marriage. He did a fabulous series on suffering. Well, I haven't heard this one yet, and it's on faith, and there's a lot of episodes. I am savoring it. And so I just highly encourage you guys, whoever's listening, it's incredible to be able to listen to this teacher delve into that.
That's great, Mindy. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I love him anyway. So I think you mentioned a podcast a couple of weeks ago that I listened to, and I always get so much out of him.
All right, Julie, what are you a fan of this week?
Okay, I am a fan of a sweater that I bought just last week, and I'm actually wearing it right now. And it is women's summer cap sleeve top casual crew neck, and it's just a pullover sweater, but it's white with pink, orange, and white stripes on the little cap sleeves of the neck.
It is so adorable.
It is the most comfortable knit. I don't know what it's made of, but it's super soft. And I have the white one, but it also came in a really pretty bright blue with these same trim colors. And it really looked cool. Ooh. And then I think it came in kind of an orange color with these trim colors. So I did get it on Amazon, and it was like $26.
That's reasonable.
So that's very reasonable. Better. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at the material. There's not a single natural fiber in it.
It's not a Bobby approved sweater.
Yeah, it's not cotton. I thought maybe it was cotton, but it's not.
But it's not making you too warm.
No, it's very soft and
Okay.
yeah, no.
Good.
So I'll put the link in.
Okay, awesome.
The show notes.
We can all use a new spring sweater. All right, this week I'm a fan of something that my younger self would have never believed. And I think I share this every year, but I am a fan of the Lowe's clearance plant rack at the back of the garden center. And if you are not checking that out on the regular, you are missing out. So a couple weeks ago, I was in there, and it's like the people that like it, we like circle around. Because at the beginning of spring, like there's somebody basically back there marking stuff on clearance the whole day. I asked this guy, he had this whole rack of something back there. I said, "Oh, are these going on clearance?" He goes, "That's my whole job the whole day this time of year, just mark things down on clearance. I just haven't gotten to that one yet." And so before you buy any full price plants, you need to walk to the back because they probably have something and it just needs a little bit of water to bring it back to life. I mean, some of these things, I look at them and I say, I don't understand what's wrong with that plant. Like, it looks great. And so some of them are dead, but a lot of them look great. So anyways, if you are not a fan of the Lowe's half price plant rack and a fan of gardening, are you even in midlife? Because my younger self would have never believed it. But now I'm like, look at this great deal I got in a hanging basket. Wow.
That's awesome.
I always feel like I need this plant to have everything going for it before it comes into my hands.
Oh, well, you're planting it outside, though. I don't know that I would buy half price. It's not really like so much an indoor plant. I mean, I'm sure people can bring those back. But like outside, all any of them really need is just some soil and water. You know, like they're not doing anything special for them. And they've probably just gotten kind of dried out on the rack. And so they're a little wilted. And so people keep passing them by. So they discount them.
All right. I love how, Marie, you're such an optimist with these plants. I'm so proud of you. That's really cool.
I even saw the other day, I don't know why, it was on some sponsored thing on my Facebook, but it was talking about the Lowe's clearance plants. And it happened to be the comment that was kind of like highlighted. This woman said, "The best score. I convinced the manager at Lowe's to give me all the clearance plants that they had tonight for $30. And she got like 150 plants. So I don't know what she was going to do with all those plants, but she was reveling in her good deal.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So anyways, there's people that are a big fan of these.
Well, yeah,
sounds like you need your own
anymore.
Like Facebook page for the Lowe's clearance thing.
Yeah, you should do some before and afters, Marie, so we can see these plants.
This is true. Well, this year into my gardening, I wouldn't have ever thought this either, but my dad's begonias were like 10 times bigger than mine last year. And I said to him, "What are you doing?" He's just adding Miracle Grow to his water once a week. Well, I bought some of that this year, and we were joking we're going to have a contest to see whose begonias grow bigger because I'm following his schedule, and I'm going to try to get mine to grow like that because...
Wow, begonias are gorgeous. That's one of my favorite things.
But who would have even thought that I'd be interested? I mean, I didn't think so.
I didn't think so either, but also let us know who wins that contest.
Okay, I will.
We need to know.
All right, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Sounds great.
All right.
Bye.
We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.